All right, number one, working on some palm mute accent patterns while really pushing the down picking speed and endurance. So, a couple ways of going about this to get started. You could do what we traditionally do, you and me, and that's work it up. Work this thing up, doing the usual fives thing and seeing how fast you can get doing it without the repeats. And that's if, really if you just need to learn what the pattern is, making sure you do it right. But let's say this is a fairly easy riff for you, and maybe just when you're learning it, you're playing it maybe about this speed. Maybe that's like a comfortable speed. So let's see, what would that tempo be like? So about 170. So maybe just you can do something like that, just like whatever you can comfortably do normally without a metronome. Use that tap tempo feature on your metronome to figure out just kind of about where you were playing it, and then you can start going up from there. So at that point, just go up in the fives. And then get to that point where you're really pushing it to, definitely reaching a max, or at least close to a max speed. Maybe not necessarily a true max, but at least close to it. So let's say you get up to, I think 200 is a pretty good speed for this sort of thing, for like endurance stuff. So I'm going to use that while demonstrating it. So let's say you got to 200, that's tough. It's starting to get hard there. It might be a higher speed, might be a lower one, doesn't really matter. It's just about finding a speed where it is a challenge. So after that, I'm going to try going for all four. And then let's assume you do get all four. Let's just play how that would go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's basically day one of working on this thing. Figuring out how fast you can play while doing 4 repetitions. So the next day you go to practice, like tomorrow or whatever it's going to be. Start at that speed. Start at the speed. And warm up by doing just small portions. So this is how the warm up would go. Start with this amount. And again, this is the next day. After you've already established how fast you can play it 4 times through, now you're going to try and start with that same speed the next day without doing a bunch of warm-up stuff. You're just going straight into the speed. Straight into it. So, you basically just get one good take at what's highlighted at the speed you maxed out at. And then you try and go for 2 bars, plus the note of the next bar. And then you add a bar. Whoops, I need to stop one time. And then you go for the whole thing without repeats. Again. Wrong note. And then you go for 2 times through. Again, because we're just trying to ease into what you did the previous day, which was a max speed at 4 times repetitions. So you might be able to go for all 4. You can try it, but this is just my way of kind of easing into it. Just doing small portions of it and gradually doing a bit more until you get that speed again. So yeah, then try doing it twice through. At that point, try going 3 times through, or again, you could shoot for all 4, but if you feel like you need a bit more warming up, go for 3. And then go for all 4 once again, just like you did the previous day. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was crap. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then after that, you go 1 BPM higher. Because we don't want to make too big a jump here. Because you're going to be working towards your physical threshold. And we're going to stay there. And just gradually try and do a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So I think 15 to 20 minutes maximum on this each day is plenty. Just trying to get a few BPM higher is all you really got to do. And even though it's just, 2, 3, maybe even 5 beats per minute, when it comes to pushing yourself to your maximum limits, 1 BPM increases, that might be all you can get out of something like this. Because what we're doing here is just working on this, being able to do that down pick constantly, nonstop. Other thing you want to do is remember to breathe. You gotta take lots of deep breaths when you're doing these endurance things, because you gotta get the oxygen into the bloodstream, gotta get it into the muscles. So definitely breathe when you're starting to tense up. Remember to breathe. Gotta remember to take those breaths. And yeah, so let's say the second day you managed to get to 206. So the next day you go to practice, start at 206, follow the same warm-up routine I just demonstrated. You just do 1 bar, add a bar, the last one, and then go through the whole thing, no repeat. Well, I guess you just did if you added the 4th bar, didn't you? But then try and do it twice, and then 3 times, and then 4 times, and then try and go 1 BPM higher, 1 BPM higher. Now let's say you get up to something like 215, and even though you follow the same warm-up protocol I just talked about, and you can't play it, you can't hit those 4 repeats at the 215 yet, drop it 5. Drop it 5 BPM and see if that works. If that doesn't work, drop it another 5, and hopefully you get it then. But then start going up in 1s at that point. So you might find that you can't start at that same speed the next day, because maybe you just get crazy fast one day. So you will need to decrease it on some days to help get back to that speed again. But try and minimize how often you decrease the speed when you're trying this thing again. Because we want to stay at the max threshold as much as possible, so this way we get used to it and can surpass it. All right. Much more straightforward on this one. 60 beats per minute. Here we go. Make sure you got that strict alternate picking the whole time. Down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down. 1 E and a 2. 3 E and a 4. 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. $120. 1, 2, 3, 4. $150. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. $180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just thinking about the pick slant too much and screwed myself up. 200. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 220. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, satisfied with that one. Repeats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, for the chord theory stuff, yeah, the ending there, you're going to have the root position chord, and then you need the first inversion. And the way I taught you to do the first inversion, the trick to it, is you start with the power chord, and then you raise up the bass note of the power chord. So for a minor chord, you go up a step and a half. That's the first inversion, minor chord right there. And then for the second inversion, what I had you do before is like do an inverted power chord and then drop that top note down to the appropriate note. So we'll be going down a major third distance there, or 2 whole steps. So basically you got your A minor chord, which is right, to get to the first inversion. Now you can just remember what the shape is, but if you need to use the trick, that's fine. So you're starting with the A minor chord, and this is how that first progression. And then you can start with the A5 chord to figure out the first inversion. So basically with that, and you go up a step and a half to get to there. So that would be the first chord you do. The second one, the A minor over C. So A minor over E is next. So remember with the root position triad, you're starting with the root note, with the A. First inversion, you start with the second note in there, which is the C. So second inversion would start with the third note in there, the E. So it's going to be that shape there. But what you could do, this one's kind of a weird thing to think about. Let's say you need to figure that out. So if the main power chord is an A5, well, the inversion would be A5 over E. So then you can do it like this here, but you can't lower this note down far enough. So you want to do it up here. So there's the inversion of it. the A5 over E. And then you gotta take this note on the D string, move it down 2 whole steps to get to that. But yeah, if you can remember what the shapes are, that's going to help out a bunch. Okay, I think that covers it all. Any questions come up, let me know. I will see you again next week.